such an honor to be here with you all today. The first time I went to, or came to Dove was 4 years ago, and I was just sitting down, and I was super excited to be here with my girls at that time, and just to be here now to encourage you all is such an honor, such a blessing. So what I'm gonna share tonight is very quick, very short, straight to the point, but it's something that encouraged me this summer. I was going through a lot, and I hope that it encourages you guys too. So aside from being a youth pastor, I'm also an elementary school teacher. Are there any future teachers in the house? Awesome! Woo! Yeah. No? Okay, sorry. So I teach third grade. I wanted to be a third grade teacher since I was 5 years old. I just knew that it was what I wanted to do. And I love it, not only because I like to highlight, make my lesson plans, create, all that kind of stuff, but I also love creating a comfortable place for my students to be able to walk in and to feel safe and to feel loved. I can't talk about Christ, I can't talk about God in that place, but I can, be kind to them, be loving, be that person that is there for them when they're going through the hardest of times. So I know that God has me there for a reason. That's one of my, purposes, that He has me on this earth to be that that loving person in their lives. And I'm able to be a world changer with my students one-on-one in the classroom. But in the classroom, how many of you guys know, how many of you guys take care of kids? Take care of kids, babysit, how many of you guys have kids, right? It's tough, right? I have 23 students, 23 8-year-olds, for 6 hours a day. So they're constantly asking me, like, Miss Altares, I need help. Sometimes help me with math problem, help me with this book, help me with this, all this stuff, right? It's super tough. So I have to be focused, I have to be on it 100% of the time. But, sometimes we go through life doing what we love, doing what we know, what we're called to do. But in those moments where sometimes distractions come into our lives, right? And sometimes they could be things that are totally out of our control. We had no idea they were coming. Other times, how many of us can be honest, we made that happen because we were not listening to God, and then consequences came, and then our mind's not in the right place, and then we're emotionally messed up the next day, all that kind of stuff, right? So sometimes I'm in the classroom, and thoughts come into my head, or I'm thinking about something that happened at home with my family, maybe something's happening with my finances, or maybe someone didn't say hi back that morning and I feel like bad about it, right? There's big distractions, there's small distractions, there's all types of distractions. But, those things throw me off when I'm in the classroom, in my purpose, doing what God has called me to do. And it's really hard to, feel focused in that moment when my student needs me and I'm like, hey, what do you need? And then I'm thinking about all those thoughts or all those things that happen, all those distractions, and I'm like, whoa, get back in the game, get back at what your student needs. You have to be focused in your purpose, right? So that's my story, but I know every single one of you young women in here, every single one of you ladies, you have your own purpose too, right? God gave you gifts, He gave you talents, He gave you dreams, and He wants you to be a world changer just like how I am in the classroom right now. He wants you to be a world changer in your communities, with your friends, with your family. And some of you may be like, whoa, I don't even know what school I'm going to next year. What do you mean, like, my purpose? I don't know what I'm called to do. Like, that's awesome. You know what you're doing. You have a job and all that. But I don't even know, like, what's happening tomorrow with my family and all this kind of stuff. What is my purpose? Some of you might be questioning that, right? But something that you can all do, something, to simplify it down, is just ask yourself, what is one way I can show love in this very moment? Whether that be listening to a friend, whether that be smiling at somebody, whether that be serving at your local church, whatever that is in that moment, that is your purpose, and that's what God has called you to do. He's called you to love Him and love others. So don't overcomplicate it with like, oh, I have to be a leader in this, I have to do this, and all these things, and join all these programs. That's awesome, that happens with time, but just ask yourself, what's one way I can show love in this very moment, and know that that is living your purpose. So, like I said, everyone has their way of showing love, right? So, how many of us know when we're, like I said, in our purpose, showing love, we have to stay alert, right? Because the enemy, he wants to stop you from going after the dreams that God has given you, the dreams that He's placed in your life. And the crazy thing is, like, He knows exactly what's going to catch your attention. He knows exactly what to throw at you. You're just doing your thing, living life, and then all of a sudden you throw something your way and like catches your attention. He knows exactly what to throw at you. And I love it. Well, I don't love this verse, but it's an important verse. It says, "Stay alert, watch out for your great enemy, the devil. He prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." And I'm not saying that to scare you girls tonight, but I'm just saying it to you to stay encouraged and to stay alert and be watchful, right? I like this quote that I read the other day, and it says, "Distractions don't look like distractions until they finish distracting you." And that's so true, right? It's not until way later I'm like, oh man, I didn't see that coming. Like, I wasn't alert. Like, I didn't notice. And sometimes we give into these distractions and they leave us feeling like failures. They leave us feeling weak. They leave us feeling lost, discouraged, like we're not in a position to change the world around us. They make us feel like we're just in this hole, and like sometimes we feel alone, right? And we feel like ashamed because we messed up, because we let God down. And the sad thing about, feeling ashamed is that we hide from God rather than running to Him. But you know what the funny thing is? I was reading Psalms 139:4, and it says, "Before a word is on my tongue, Lord, you know it completely." And I love that verse because, my question tonight for you girls is, why do we hide when He knows how we are feeling? Why do we hide when He knows exactly what we are thinking? I feel like when we go through something, we make a mistake, we get all scared and we try and hide from Him and run away. Just like Adam and Eve, when they messed up, they hid from God and they ran instead of going to Him, right? He just wanted to talk to them. He was there looking for them. And I love this verse, also in Psalms 139. It says, "You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." So that verse, it says that He knows every day of my life before I was born. He knows every single moment. And I know we hear that verse a lot, and we're like, okay, yeah, I know that verse. But when I read it this summer, I was going through something really difficult, and it reminded me that when He knows every moment, He knows every distraction I've ever given into, every temptation I've ever given into. He knows every mistake that I've ever made, every thought I've ever thought, every heartbreak I've ever felt. Every time I decided to do my own thing, He has known all of that. But that's not the part that really caught my attention. The verse that got my attention was the verse that came right after that. So verse 16 says that He knows everything about me. And then verse 17, it says, "How precious are your thoughts about me, O God. They cannot be numbered." So just to rephrase that, verse 16 over here, it says He knows every single little thing I've ever done. And then right away it says He's thinking millions of good thoughts about me, regardless about what He knows about my past, regardless about what He knows about my current situation, and regardless about what He knows about my future. He is thinking millions of good thoughts about me. And I feel like sometimes when we see a person that does something bad, for example, our first thought, just to be honest, because we're all humans in here, right? Our first thought isn't like, when someone does something bad, we're not like, oh, that's such a good person, like, wow, right? We're like, what? No way, like, I can't believe that happened. And then later we're like, oh, okay, like, they made a mistake. Or if someone in your family, like, backstabs you, or maybe a friend, like, turns their backs on you, our immediate thought, our immediate reaction isn't like, oh, that's such a good person, I love you so much. Like, no, our immediate thought as humans, we're like, what? Like, I can't believe, like, you did that. Yet, when we turn our backs on God, when we, backstab Him or whatever it is, He's thinking millions of good thoughts about us, regardless of the situation that we're in. And this verse encouraged me so much. So He thinks about us all the time in such a good way. And His thoughts about us are not only so good, but they can't even be counted. That's what the verse says. They cannot be numbered. So this summer, I went to go visit my friend in Texas, and she was in her room asleep, and I was in my room, and I was just sitting on the floor. I had gone through a really difficult situation this summer, and I had made not the best decisions, honestly, for my emotional life, and I feel like in that moment, I just really felt like I was in this hole, just really sad, going through a lot. And I just needed a reminder. I needed God to tell me, like, you know what? I love you, regardless of what I've seen you do, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of the mistakes you made. I love you. And that's when I read this verse. And it was such an encouragement to me because even though I was straight up in my mess in that moment, he reminded me that he was thinking millions of good thoughts about me and that he was on my side. So I just want that to be an encouragement to you all tonight. You're all in different seasons of life. You know, I saw some girls as young as 11 in here. I saw some girls, you know, a lot older that are in here too. Whatever season of life that you find yourself in, I just want you all to know that God believes in you, that he's rooting for you, and he wants the best for you, regardless of the situation you're in. And even when you and I are so undeserving, and I put myself in that too, because just because I'm up here does not mean I have it together, right? I just want you all to know that he loves us so much. And I need to remember that when I'm working with my 23 students in the classroom. And you all need to remember that in whatever environment you find yourselves in, wherever you are in your homes, wherever you are at school, with your friends, remind yourselves that he loves you and he's thinking millions of good thoughts about you. And I want to end with this last verse, Psalms 139, 1 through 6. It says, "O Lord, you have examined my heart and know everything about me. You know when I sit down or stand up. You know my thoughts even when I'm far away. You see me when I travel and when I rest at home. You know everything I do. You know what I'm going to say even before I say it, Lord. You go before me and follow me. You place your hand of blessing on my head." And that verse is just to remind you all that he knows you and he's not surprised when something happens. Right? So when you're feeling ashamed because of any mistake you made, any distraction that came into your life, failure from messing up, maybe you can't focus on your current situation, your current purpose that he has you in, run to God and don't run away from him. So just to end it off, continue living your life as world changers in whatever community, whatever environment he has you in right now. And don't forget to ask yourself, like, how can I show love in this moment? And keep living your life, you know, for God, even when it gets tough. And know that when, you know, it's tough, just look up and he's looking down. He's like, that's my daughter and that's an amazing woman. And remember to aim for progress and not to aim for perfection. Amen. So I just want to pray really quick and I'm going to pass it on to the next person. Go. Close your eyes and bow your heads. God, thank you.